Alright, so we got this newfangled bullet and we want to know what powder charge to start with. And I went to that guy, Outwoods, I can't quite remember his channel, but his name is Blackie, and he does a way of doing this. Well, we know that our bullet will seat on there like that. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to know how much powder to put under this bullet. Alright. First thing we do is we're going to figure out what grains, how many grains is the full chamber. Okay, so we get a powder measure. It's graduated here. And like I said, with black powder, generally it's close. So what we'll do is we got some black powder here. We're going to put it, see which one of these is, that one there. We're going to just fill up the chamber. Basically fill it completely. Alright, we're going to put the remainder of that powder in there. It's clean, and we're going to dump out our full chamber into the pan here. We're going to take our powder measure. Alright, we dump the powder out of the cylinder, we get our pistol measure, and we lower it down. And then what we do is fill the measure up. It holds about 60 grains, which I don't believe that revolver would hold that much. So I put it in the measure, put my finger over it, then push it up till I feel it. Up top here, and a rough estimate is, I'd say 28 grains of powder. Okay, and then supposedly by measuring the bullet and looking across, this thing's telling me, using his method, telling me about 15 grains of powder. Okay. So some estimates were 20, some estimates were like 17 grains. I'm looking at this to get this in there. Just from what I heard, I believe 17 grains of powder is the way to go, because this is a longer bullet. That's what the standard charge was in the paper cartridges, the one guy said. So what I'm going to do, using this as a rough estimate. Now when the other guy did it, he had a different measure. He said about 20 grains. I think 20 grains is too much, because what's going to happen is once you put this in the cylinder, okay, if there's too much powder, it's going to stick up and not go around. And plus, he didn't go and drill a spot on his revolver, so he was flattening that bullet a lot more. Didn't have this point protruding up in here. Look at that. So we're going to say calculated 17 grains of powder to start with. That's what we're going to start with. And I got to see, what I'll do is not only will I load it, but I'll try measuring. You can tell, because when you spin it around, it's going to catch on the barrel if it's sticking out too far. But I think I'll start with 17. Now take the gun apart and measure with the calipers like this how far down the bullet is and get an idea. And roughly, you know, and we're not going to use a wad with this bullet. But I am going to try, what the hell, scraping all this off. I am going to try to lubricate this, dip this, and lubricate the bullet itself. And hopefully some of that lube will stay on there to lubricate this thing when we shoot it. But I'm going to try 17. Now be careful. You know, your gun may be different. That's why I did, you know, that's the one good thing about this, using this method. If the cylinder size is different, if the gun is made by another manufacturer, the powder capacity could be different. That thing barely takes, what is it there? You can't get 30 grains of powder in that. It's about 28. So yeah, 17 sounds about a good place to start and try it. We'll see with that. I guess 15 is what some people use, but I want to be out there and you see. And like I said, once I modified that bullet's going to stick up higher because I ain't crushing that point down. So it may be a problem. All right, so that's how I determined or come up with. Actually, I watched the guy that made the molds, and that's when he was making the paper cartridges. He says he uses 17 grains. So that's why we're going to try that first.